First attempt to try to find RFI noise coming from the River 2 Pro. What you see there in front of you is a Ecoflow River 2 Pro, and it was a star in one of our recent videos. It's been a little while, and some viewers, thank you for watching, have made some comments on the video platform. Thank you for your comments. One of them was in response to my comment that this Ecoflow has Wi-Fi, and a more recent Blue Yeti model to the market has only Wi-Fi and not Bluetooth. And I said this has Bluetooth and it has Wi-Fi, and the Blue Yeti's also. It really doesn't matter as long as it's easy to get connected and to see what the status is and to make changes. You know, who cares? This one, because it connects to Wi-Fi and it connects to my access point here at the house, I actually was getting readings on its status when I was away from the house. In other words, I wasn't connected directly to this Ecoflow. I was connected over the internet to the Ecoflow. So that may be a positive or it may be a concern. The second comment that I wanted to cover in this video had to do with does the Ecoflow generate any noise? The assumption is radio frequency interference, RFI. Does it generate any RFI noise? The person that asked the question asked about when the inverter was in use. But really, I think we'd want to know if it generates any noise when the inverter's in use. Does it generate any noise when it's providing DC power out of the ports? And does it generate any noise when maybe it's charging from solar panels or from the DC cable? So I had to think about how can I run tests on this. Most of the people that I see with these units really haven't done any testing or exhaustive testing. One of the guys I watch a lot when it comes to solar stuff, his channel name is Hobotech, right? H-O-B-O-T-E-C-H, Hobotech. And what he's got is he's got a small guitar amp that he plugs in, and he sees if any noise comes out of the speaker. So let's run that test first. Okay, so what we've got here is a pair of Advent, A-D-V-E-N-T, maybe it's Advent, A-D-V-E-N speakers. Plug it in. Let's power the Ecoflow on. And right now the Ecoflow is saying 84% of charge. Let's click on the AC on and off button. Now AC should be on, and then let's click on the speakers. And that's the volume all the way up. So we do hear a little bit of hum. We do hear a little bit of noise coming out of the speakers. Let's go ahead and leave the speakers on and cut off AC, and as you might expect, that noise goes away. So that tells us that these speakers through their cables and their cords maybe are experiencing some kind of ground loop test. But a test, I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably saying, hey, you're a ham operator. certainly you've got some sort of radio that maybe, instead of using an audio frequency device for a noise signal that could be coming in over the cable, you could use maybe ferrites or something. Why aren't you using a radio to check if RFI is being transmitted? And that's the next thing we're going to try. All right, it's taken a little bit of doing, but I got an Abri antenna connected to my 705, operating off of battery power. So now we've got the Abri antenna, we got the 705, and I'm going to stop and I'm going to tune up and see if I can find some noise I can make go on and off with the inverter. Okay, I didn't see any down low. I started down at the AM band in AM mode, filter 1, and as I got up to 49, I heard some noise. The inverter is off right now. Let's cut the inverter back on, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it. So that's with the powered speakers plugged in the front of the inverter. Let's cut the speakers off and see if it goes away. Now I have noticed it's moving around a little bit. If you look at the screen on the front, could be heat related. I heard the noise even with the front speakers, even with the powered speakers off. But as soon as I kill the inverter, the noise goes away. Again, that's 49.539. When I was going across the ham bands down lower, didn't hear that at all. Let me cut the inverter back on. Let's tune back down. I can see spikes in the display. Got our ref gain up. That's 49. We know that the USB charger in the 705 kicks off noise. So I absolutely did not want there to be any power cables coming into the 705 from the solar generator or from any other power source charging. Don't want to mistake the noise this device may be making for noise coming from this or a different device. Okay, that's 40. And that's just where the radio jumps below 40 megahertz. Let's get down further in the ham bands. Let's get down to 10 meters. Okay, that's 30, 29. Okay, so we're in the top of 10 meters. And you're probably saying, Ed, that a Brie antenna, it's not very resonant. It's not tuned for this frequency, and you're right. I don't want to have to determine whether it's legitimate, strong signals. I want to make it so that it's got to be a strong signal that's local, very close by. I think having this antenna effectively in the near field of this device would be enough. So let's get the background on our scope so I can see it out here in the daylight. Down to 25 megahertz. There's some noise, but it doesn't have that same characteristic. Megahertz. There's 18435. There's little noise, but again, it doesn't have a pulsing or chopping characteristic. $15,363, a little more noise, but no pulsing or chopping. Okay, so there's the top of 20 meters. And that was all of 20 meters. Let's go through here a little bit slower. Yeah, I don't see anything or hear anything with this setup in 20. $12,287, a little bit extra noise. Okay, 9 megahertz. That's 9213. $6146. These are just like the typical birdies you expect a radio to have. 2000. Okay. So there's another test. Okay, we're down at the very bottom end of the radio. It's another test I want to run. I want to get out a solar panel. I want to hook the solar panel up. I'm going to cut off the inverter, and I want to run up through the frequencies with the solar panel charging the battery and see if we can identify any RFI coming out of the solar charger circuitry of this unit. We'll be back in just a second for that. Well, my first attempt to try to find RFI noise coming from the River 2 Pro found a little bit of inverter noise up around, I think it was 49 megahertz, and I tried to find solar charger noise and I was unable to. Now my setup for the second test was a all powers 60 watt folding panel located just in front. Sun's gone behind a cloud. I saw a high peak of 35 watts and a low peak of about 16 watts during the test. The cables coming out of the panel basically go right past the radio and the Abri antenna. Right, so this is set up for near field. There are no USB cables or any other cables connecting the 705 to anything else. And that's because we've noticed 705 has a problem with picking up noise on the USB cables, and also I think the charger that charges the internal battery in the 705 generates some noise as well. So if I'm using that as a piece of test gear, I'm not going to use a cable, and I'm not going to be charging its battery while performing the tests. One of the ways I structure my testing is I get something in, I read the manual. You know, I'm that kind of person. And then I quickly go through the most common things, and I'll usually do a video called a first look. And that's something I do just like you would if you didn't make videos, but you got something in and you wanted to, figure out how it works, what it does. At some point in the future, after I've used equipment for a number of different outings, I'll typically make a video that'll be something like a look back. Like I could say a look back at the 705 or a look back at these folding solar panels because I've had them long enough. A look back at the Buddy Power Mini solar charge adapter. But for the new things, I don't let perfect be the enemy of good. I don't try to learn everything about them and to run every comprehensive test before making a video. Reality is the videos have never come out. So for those of you that are looking for really extensive testing, Hobotech's pretty good. He seems to be a guy that tests a variety of home and portable solar stuff. I'm a kind of guy that spends some time out at Quartzsite in a trailer. And there's a guy called Will Proust who has a little bit more like home solar, home panels, home inverters. He's a guy that cuts the batteries open and you can see inside. So some of my knowledge is going to be repeating what other people say. And if I misremember something, feel free to correct me in a comment. My goal is to get correct and timely information out to people. And if I say it wrong, if I heard it wrong, if somebody said it wrong, or something changes, then I'm more than happy to take comments from viewers and to pass them on to you. But for now, that's gonna be my second look at the Ecoflow River Pro 2, searching for RFI.